Alexis Sanchez learns that attempting to say nothing can be just as bad as actually saying something. Zlatan sells perfume and simultaneously feeds the rumor monster. Cristiano Ronaldo may haunt the dreams of defenders, but his new statue will terrorize the dreams of anyone who looks upon it. Bastian Schweinsteiger is excited, and a little confused, to be playing in MLS, and the citizens of Iceland commemorate the 9-month anniversary of their defeat of England in surprising fashion. It's Thursday, March 30th, 2017. I'm Taylor Rockwell, and you are listening to The Goalmouth, a podcast collaboration between Dirty Tackle, Howler Magazine, and The Total Soccer Show. Up first, are you a soccer fan? Do you love drama? If so, might I suggest setting up a Google alert for Arsenal, because man, things are staying dramatic for the Gunners. While on international duty with Chile, Alexis Sanchez appeared at a promotional event and was pressed for details regarding his future. The winger responded, quote, "I'm happy in London and I want to finish my contract. That's what I want. I like to stay in one place, one city where the team fights for titles," end quote. Now, some news outlets took that as a sign that he was either 1, actively trying not to say anything controversial, or 2, confirming that he planned to see out his contract with Arsenal since, those are the things he said. And yet, other outlets reported the news as concrete evidence of an impending move to Chelsea, given that they are also located in London and are currently favorites to win the title. And of course, all that speculation led other outlets, looking in your direction, Metro, to report that Arsenal would slap a £50 million price tag on the winger should other clubs come calling. Sanchez then happened to put on a pair of gloves, thereby all but confirming his intentions to move to Yeovil Town in England's 4th Division. All hail the mighty Glovers. One gentleman who might not be pursuing seemingly greener pastures is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, at least according to Manchester Evening News. The 35-year-old had previously been linked with a big money move to the LA Galaxy, but on Wednesday gave the strongest indication yet that he would remain in Manchester next season. Quote, "I'm a person, when I go into something, I put my head 200% and I do what I'm good at. I go in, I go for the kill, and I go out. And when I go out, there is no complaints. That's what I do. I never leave a job unfinished," end quote. According to the Evening News, that last line in particular indicates that Ibrahimovic, who has an additional 12-month option on his contract, has his sights set on either winning the Premier League title or finishing that DIY Pinterest project he started a few months ago. It's also worth noting that these comments came during a promotional event for his new line of Zlatan fragrances, so between Ibra and Sanchez, it seems that the new place for the hottest transfer gossip is terrible corporate events. In fact, let's just stay on topic. Here's another bit of weird corporate promotional news that you probably knew was coming. On Wednesday, the Madeira International Airport in Portugal was renamed in honor of Cristiano Ronaldo, who was born in Funchal, the largest city in Madeira. The decision to change the name was strongly opposed by some local politicians, a few concerned citizens, and I have to assume, the artist who created the statue of Ronaldo that will be featured at the airport. The statue in question was supposed to be of Ronaldo's head and neck, but instead, well, I think one Twitter user said it best when they wrote that it looks more like Sloth from the Goonies than it does the man who's made 138 appearances for Portugal. I mean this with 90% sincerity. Don't look at this thing before you go to bed. I know it's early in the morning when you're listening to this, or likely early in the morning, but if you happen to be listening to it at night, don't go look at this image. It will haunt your dreams. The eyes are too close together, the mouth is weird, the hairline is way off. It looks like the artist who created it couldn't find a photo of Ronaldo, was working on a deadline, saw a drawing done by his or her 5-year-old, and thought, yeah, sure, I can totally make a statue based on that, no problem. One thing is for certain, though, Cristiano Ronaldo is a professional. How he managed to hold it together when that thing was unveiled, I will never know, because I, for one, would either have broken down laughing or, more likely, panicked and asked everyone present if that's actually what I look like. That's why he makes the big bucks. And if you think that Ronaldo statue was the most embarrassing thing to happen in the world of soccer in the last 24 hours, then you haven't been paying attention to MLS player unveilings. During his introductory press conference on Wednesday, new Chicago Fire midfielder Bastian Schweinsteiger was asked, quote, "With your addition to this team, is it a fair expectation to see a clear pathway towards a World Cup competition coming out of Chicago?" End quote. What followed that question were a few moments of confusion, during which time the assembled press personnel for the Fire attempted to figure out what exactly the reporter was asking, given that, at present time, the city of Chicago seems highly unlikely to secede from the United States, create its own national team, and then somehow successfully petition FIFA to allow for a one-time switch of a player who featured over 120 times for Germany. The reporter in question quickly realized his mistake and rephrased to ask Schweini if he thought he could win MLS Cup. Just kidding, he doubled down. Quote, "Let me rephrase. Do you expect, now that you're here, Bastian, that World Cup gold is a realistic expectation for Chicago?" End quote. No word yet on why George Qureshi felt the need to ask that question, nor how he was able to gain access to that press conference. He's a crafty one. And finally, there are moments in soccer that inspire a whole new generation of players. Iceland's Euro 2016 2-1 defeat of England may have literally done exactly that. According to local newspaper Visir, a record number of babies were born in Iceland this past weekend, which, as it happens, came exactly 9 months after the Three Lions were knocked out of the Euros. In addition, Æskur Petter Thorvaldsson, a doctor in the anesthesiology department at Landspítala University Hospital in Reykjavik, tweeted that they administered a record number of epidurals over the weekend. For those who don't remember, heading into that Euro 2016 match, there were long-standing concerns regarding Joe Hart's positioning and overall decision-making. Some fans were even calling for the England goalkeeper to be relegated to the bench. And sure enough, it was a Joe Hart howler that allowed Iceland's winner to trickle into the back of the net. Who would have thought that England's failure to pull the goalie would have led thousands of Icelanders to do just that? And on that note, we've come to the end of yet another Goalmouth episode. You can explore all these stories in more depth by subscribing to our newsletter. The link is in the show notes. I've been Taylor Rockwell. Daryl Grove will be with you tomorrow, unless he's too busy murdering me for having mentioned that Iceland game. For now, I'll just leave you with today's Goalmouth top tip. The Chicago Fire are your 2018 World Cup champions. You heard it here first.